So, Ellen, let's talk a little bit about 360-degree measurement and viewership.
Well, the reason we have to measure it is that if we don't measure it, we can't sell it. And it's clearly the way people are going to be. I mean, they're already consuming media that way, but it's only going to increase. And so just to be, to define it, it's television, it's the internet, and it's mobile. I mean, mobile is emerging, but I think it's going to obviously play a huge role in the future when the platform gets better. So, the fact of the matter is that people are consuming it that way, and they definitely are. I mean, there's no question. We've just done all this kind of research about it. Then the question is, how do you measure it? And in my view, the only way we're ultimately going to get to the kind of holy grail of measurement is through a single source measure, where one person generates information about their TV use on television, on the internet, and on mobile. And right now we haven't been able to do that. So we've come up with a lot of substitutes. I mean, we came up here with something we call the TAMI, the Total Audience Measure Index. I've been really honest in saying it's something I'd love to retire the minute we can get real research out there. But until that time, what it does is tries to give you a sense about how television, internet streaming, VOD, downloads, all basically are used or provide exposure to a show. I don't say impressions because that's kind of a Nielsen term. It's a combination of different metrics. I can't account for duplication because, it just isn't single source. But it's interesting, when I put it out there a few years ago, I thought there would be a lot of pushback from agencies or clients saying, you're just trying to increase the numbers and things like that. But I was surprised at how it was embraced. And then I realized it was embraced because there was really nothing else. And people are so hungry for any kind of information now about, how we can begin to measure this thing, that they really accepted it. And we've been very, very clear with respect to how it's done and what its limitations are. But it still is very interesting. And if anybody wants to look at it, they can go on our Marketplace website, NBC Marketplace, and there's a TAMI button. And we TAMI every one of the primetime shows that have multi-platform, exposures. Some have more than others, a show like Heroes or, The Office. And you can look at it over time. So you can take a look at, how a program, a particular episode, how each of the platforms contributed. But you can also look at a platform over time. So, for example, when we did it for the Olympics, we saw a really huge growth in the use of mobile throughout the 17 days of the Olympics. Now, again, mobile is still very small, but it was growing at a really interesting pace. And so you can get some insights there that, at least are helpful for now. But I'm hoping that, sooner than later, we'll figure out a way that we can do this cross-platform measure in a systematic and single-source way. And that's one of the reasons why, a bunch of our colleagues and we, started this coalition for innovative media measurement, SIM. It's the idea of trying to promote, companies to be able to come in and start to figure out ways of doing this. It's very hard. I'm not saying it's easy at all, just that, we've got to figure it out. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time because the consumer adoption of cross-platform 360 is happening very, very quickly. It's becoming very, very mainstream. So it's not like we can say, well, we'll get to it in a couple of years. We really need to sort of see what we can do right now.
Can you talk a little bit about the components of TAMI, how you did get data from all of your sources?
Sure. Well, what it really is basically we took Nielsen for television. We took ComScore or net ratings, depending for, the internet streaming. We also have our Omniture data. Depends upon what we, and then for VOD, there's RedTrack, which provides VOD data. There's Apple, which provides the download, data. And there's not a lot in mobile at this point. It's very hard to kind of get that. And we don't really stream programs, that many programs on mobile. But that's how we do it. So as I say, I can't account for duplication. In fact, in the 360 world, I know there's going to be duplication, and I hope there's duplication, because duplication means you have people who are highly engaged in whatever it is, whatever the program is, and we kind of want those folks. I don't think that internet should be viewed as a reach play. What unduplicated or can we reach? That's not really, we've come to realize the best way to use it. The best way to use it is to complement television. What we've learned is that a television campaign combined with an internet campaign results in a greater evaluation, whatever your ROI is, than if you do them individually. And it's not just about taking the TV spot and running it online. That really doesn't, I think people thought that was the way to go years ago. That's really not the smartest way to kind of use these now. They really need to be complementary. But when they work, they are really, really effective. And we've got a number of case studies that have shown that this combination is terrific. And again, once mobile kind of grows up, it's going to take a little bit of time. I think it's going to be even more impactful.